Hello everybody, I am Matt Goddard, welcome to the Boxing Locker, and this is my breakdown, prediction, analysis of the entire last Crescendo Riyadh season show, headlined by undisputed champion Artur Beterbiev, and of course his Russian compatriot and rival Dmitry Bivol. This is without question the best fight card I think I've seen in recent history, certainly in the last 10 years, potentially in the last 20 years. If you can think of a better one, please drop it in the comments below, because there are some exceptional clashes on this show, and I am going to go into every single one of them, break them down, and let you know my thoughts on the winners and how the fight will play out. And I look forward to hearing your responses to all of those predictions. Okay, so we'll start off with the main event itself. Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. The first fight was obviously an Artur Beterbiev victory. I personally felt that was very much justified. I thought he'd won comfortably. I thought he controlled the rounds, controlled the pace, did more work. And I thought the work that he did was more effective, more impactful, and had a more visible reaction from Bivol. I think what Bivol did was beautiful in flashes, but you can't box for 30 seconds of a round and deserve to win a fight for 12 rounds anyway. How I had that scored, I think I had it 7 in favour of Beterbiev and then 4 for Bivol with 1 drawn. So I think that's how I had that scored at the time. Check out my video if you haven't seen it already on that fight. I have done a prediction on here, and then you'll know more clearly. However, with that being said, how do I think this fight will play out? I am personally of the opinion that I think we will see a reverse of the score. I think we will see Bivol with the points victory. Why do I think that will happen? 2 or 3 reasons. Firstly, I think it sets up a nice trilogy. Both fighters are big names. They're both top 10 pound for pound guys. And these are the kind of fights that Turkey wants to see. And so as such, I think a third fight would be profitable for everyone and for the boxing industry and the sport of boxing generally. That's number 1 reason. I think the most beneficial outcome would be a Bivol victory. The second reason is I think that Beterbiev is slowing. He has obviously suffered with a lot of injuries, and age is always a factor. His style means that he's often in very rough fights, and as such that will wear on him. Do I think we'll see that necessarily very clearly this fight? Probably not, but you have to keep that in mind, because it's not necessarily going to be an enormously visible change. It's not going to be all of a sudden he's just lost everything. Just a little bit slower, just a little bit more tired, just a little bit less fit. Do I think his work rate has changed? No. Do I think his dedication has changed? No. He's an exceptional warrior, an exceptional athlete, and he deserves respect for that. But unfortunately, everybody wears down over time. However, the other factor, and the final factor, is that I think Bivol had more to learn from the first fight. He could see where he succeeded and see where he lost out. I think he will throw punches in higher volume, and he will slow his feet down a little bit so that he uses his punches a lot more to disrupt the rhythm of Beterbiev, as opposed to using that footwork, because the changes of direction were great, they were flashy, they looked impressive, but they didn't achieve a lot, because at the end of the day, Beterbiev took that step to the side and then stepped back in with the shots, took that step to the side and stepped back in with the shots, and did everything he needed to do to get the victory, in my opinion. I know a lot of people think differently, but however you look at it, there was no time in the fight when Bivol was completely away from Beterbiev, where he wasn't being hit even on the gloves, where he wasn't absorbing shots. And so for me, I think Bivol needs to increase the output, relax them shots, change it up, and give Beterbiev a lot more looks, a lot more feints, a lot more with the legs, the shoulders, the hands, and keep him thinking, keep him guessing. And most importantly, he has to occupy Beterbiev's rear hand, not the lead hand. It's very easy to get distracted by that Beterbiev jab, because it's a fantastic punch and massively, massively underrated, because he just gets the moniker of a big puncher all the time, as opposed to people understanding that he's actually an exceptional boxer. That jab is is a great shot, but he's always looking for the big shots over the top of it and looping around. So what Bivol needs to do is actually, in my opinion, circle towards Beterbiev's rear hand and step to that side, but occupying that right glove as he goes so that it stops Beterbiev getting that shot off. So jab to the glove, jab to the middle, jab to the glove, jab to the middle, throw that hook off the back of it that he does over the top. Bap, bap, boom, and then moving out. Then shoot the right hand down the middle, feint low, come back over the top. We'll see how this plays out, but I believe the fight will end again very closely. But I think maybe it'll be 8-4 in favour of Bivol, which easily sounds like a big win. But actually, you know, a lot of those rounds I think will be very close. Or maybe, as I said previously, 7-5 or 7-4 with a round drawn here or there. So that's my prediction for the main fight. Bivol on points in a very close fight, in a very closely contested fight for all 12 rounds. Okay, so the next fight we need to talk about, and perhaps the fight that's sort of taken the attention quite a lot away from the two Russians in Beterbiev and Bivol, is, of course, Daniel Dynamite Dubois versus Joseph Parker. Now, this is a fantastic stylistic matchup, okay? Parker is obviously on a fantastic run. He's looked really good, and he's probably peculiarly seems to be at his peak now. Under Andy Lee, he's grown, his boxing skills have improved, and he's showing that he's a dangerous man for any and all opponents. In the past, he's been guilty of losing fights in ways that he probably shouldn't have. The Andy Joshua fight would be an example of that. But now I believe we're seeing the best of Joseph Parker. Now, stylistically, how does this fight match up? Daniel Dubois, obviously incredibly powerful. He has been, I would say, made to look incredibly good by what he did to Anthony Joshua. And I would argue that perhaps Anthony Joshua boxing badly is what made Dubois look good, as opposed to Dubois looking particularly exceptional. I don't think we saw anything new from Dubois. I think he just committed to his shots, and he was willing to go to places that Joshua wasn't. And Joshua, since that Andy Ruiz fight, has been gun shy, and that Dubois overhand right basically finished the fight there and then. And Anthony Joshua's obviously technical fundamental flaws, like a lack of defensive responsibility when he's going in, and an overemphasis on his own power, which I personally have always felt has been lacking in a one-punch dimension. I think he's a volume puncher, and that's him at his best. I think that made Dubois look better than Dubois actually is. I think Dubois is good, don't get me wrong, I'm not bringing him down. He's definitely a top 5, top 6 heavyweight in the world, but I'm not really sure that's saying a lot for the modern heavyweight era. I think Dubois is not mobile enough. I think his feet are a bit too slow. He doesn't really move his head. I know he's been doing some great work with Kieran Farrell, who's a fantastic coach, but I'm not sure it's early enough in Dubois' career for him to really start applying all them quick head movements, all that twitchy work. I don't think it's going to be enough. I think he's going to fall back into old habits, and that's that robotic, upright, big, stiff, boom, 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 sort of power style. That kind of style that was begun by the Klitschko's of long, hard, big shots, and doing as little as possible, really, to win the fight. However, how is that going to play out in this fight with that little analysis? I believe Joseph Parker is going to win this. I think he's going to surprise everyone. I think he's going to outbox Dubois comprehensively off the back of a jab and lateral movement. I think that is the key to beating Dubois. I think he's going to jab the right hand, and he's going to move off to the side. He's going to jab and move off to the side. He's going to dip down as he did against Wilder, dip down to the body, slip jab with it, come up, whop over the top, move. And that's going to be the key. Lateral movement with head movement, lateral movement with head movement, never finishing your combinations and standing still. I mean, it's a fundamental, and it's something that I coach children that I train. You don't attack and leave your head in the same spot. You always attack, then move that head, attack, move that head, attack, move with the feet. Something has to move, and too many of these heavyweights attack. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hrgovic was a great example of that, and Dubois exposed him for it. So there we have it. Anyway, that's my prediction for that. I think Joseph Parker is actually going to win on points. I think he's going to go the full distance. Daniel Dubois is incredibly tough. I like Daniel Dubois. Please don't make this an anti-Daniel Dubois post, because it's not. I like him. He's a very good boxer, and he's done well to get to where he's got. And he's very young, and he's taken on some really big challenges, which should be respected, and it is a very admirable decision. However, I think Joseph Parker's going to get him. I think Joseph Parker's going to beat him, and it's going to set up the Usyk fight. And I think that would actually be a really, really decent fight. So there we have it. Joseph Parker, points. Now, very disappointingly, we have seen Shakur Stevenson and Floyd Schofield cancelled due to Floyd Schofield, was it illness or injury? I can't remember which. But Stevenson predicted this would happen. Stevenson's team predicted that Schofield didn't really want the fight. And I think maybe that's true. I think once again, we're seeing people use Stevenson's name to get some clout, get some promotional coverage. And then they don't really want the fight. I understand that. One of the reasons is he's way too good for them. The other reason is he's a stinker. So, he's going to outbox you in the most boring way possible for a conventional crowd. Me as a boxing purist, I could watch Shakur Stevenson all day. I think he's beautiful. The way he controls the distance and keeps people on the end of his shots. The way he makes people miss fraction, he counters and evades. His lateral movement, his distance control, his hand control, the physicality of his game is massively underrated. I think he's absolutely exceptional, and possibly the most high-level purist boxer currently active. However, nobody wants to box him because of that. It's not an exciting fight to watch for the layman, for a regular fan. It's a massive show, and they want people entertained. They don't want 12 rounds of Stevenson sort of comfortably picking people apart and cruising through. However, I think in this fight he would have stopped Schofield. I think that was the plan. I think in 8, 9 and 10 he would have hurt him badly with body shots, and that would have been game over. So I don't know who they've got to step in. I saw a couple of names, didn't recognise either of them, so didn't take it seriously. That'll be a comfortable win. He'll probably stop either of them within 6. He's always ready, so that's kind of all we can say about that. I think Stevenson would have won. I think he will win, and then we'll go on to see, hopefully, some of these fights that we really want to see. Those fights like Tank, those fights like the Devin Haney fight, like Teofimo, even if Teo wants to stay down at light welter. I mean, there's Lomachenko. There's so many options. I know Lomachenko is apparently retired, but I don't know how true that is. Disappointing, but is what it is. Hopefully Stevenson gets a decent fight in on the night, and we can see him be quite exciting and dominate an opponent. I like watching him. Hopefully you guys understand too how good he is, because it's my opinion that he's probably the most talented young boxer out there at the moment, with the exception of Jesse Rodriguez. So there we have it. On to the next one. Now this is an exciting fight. You've got Carlos Adames, who is a powerful puncher and a strong guy, a bull of a man, and you have got him competing against Hamza Shiraz. Shiraz is an awkward, rangy, long, uncomfortable to be in there with fighter. He's throwing shots from angles you don't expect. The length of his levers means that you've got to work real hard to get inside, and then when you do, he's on the back foot picking up shots. He's got a very, very good jab, a varied jab, and a jab that's effective, especially against shorter fighters who he's so used to competing with. This is the thing to remember, ever since an amateur, he's been competing against shorter guys because that's how he's trained his whole life. Everything is down there. And I'm excited to see whether he can do it at that very, very, very top level. I don't think Adames is at that very, very top level. I know he is statistically, but I'm not sure he's going to have enough to trouble Shiraz. Really, I think Shiraz will win this quite comfortably on points. I think Adames is going to prove to be resilient. He's going to have great fortitude, and I think he's going to get through the fight. I think he might go down a couple of times. But I don't think Shiraz is a particularly prolific puncher. I think it's just that he catches you from angles you don't expect, and he catches you walking in, which is always a magnifying effect. You know, if I'm stood completely still and you hit me, say from a mathematical perspective at 10 miles an hour, it's going to hurt. But if I'm running at 5 miles an hour and you hit me at 10 miles an hour, that collision is magnified. If you're doing 20 and I'm doing 10, it's magnified. If you're doing 30 and I'm doing 10, it's even more magnified. And it just keeps going like that. And so essentially you're coming forward, steaming in, trying to get close to him, comes out of nowhere, all your body weight is falling onto the shot, and as such, the impact is doubled, tripled, quadrupled, whatever the maths is. Who really knows? All I know is it bloody well hurts. So there's my pick. I think Shiraz on points, or potentially a Shiraz late stoppage between 9 and 12. Good fight. Good to see Shiraz on this card. I like him. He's a good boxer and a humble guy. So let's see how he gets on. Okay, now I think this is the fight that is going to steal the show, the whole show. And that is Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov. Now, Madrimov put in a career best performance against Terence Crawford, and although I believe Crawford won, it was a really close fight. Madrimov proved that he's an excellent competitor with a fantastic boxing skill set, and this is exciting. We haven't really seen Ortiz against kind of elite world level competition. He's tried. I've followed him for a long time. I'm a big fan of his. I was mentioning him 5-6 years ago on YouTube videos on my old channel, and he's been in there. He's been desperately looking for these fights, and I would say he's been avoided. He's powerful. He's a good mid-short range fighter, and he's tough. Madrimov, mobile, sharp, strong, good volume. I think everyone thinks Ortiz is going to win this, and that's going to be a statement fight, but I think Madrimov's going to shock everyone. I think Madrimov is going to come out there and he's going to be active, and he's going to box and move, and he's going to amateur style Ortiz out of the fight. I think Madrimov's going to pick the shots with the head movement and get himself out of there quick, real snappy, in and out, boom, 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 move, pop, pop, move, pop, 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 move, pop. And he's going to do it for 12 rounds, and Ortiz will have success because he's good. He's really, really good. I think he'll have success, but I feel like Madrimov might sneak this. I could be completely wrong. This one for me is a 50-50 fight. I'm taking a shot in the dark, but I personally feel that maybe Madrimov's got what it takes. Maybe Madrimov is going to, and especially having had the result he had against Crawford, I think maybe Madrimov's going to do enough. So I'm going to go Madrimov points. I might be wrong. Let me know what you think in the comments. So the next fight on the card is Zhilei Zhang and Ajit Kabayel. Now, I'm going to surprise everybody with this one as well, because Big Bang Zhilei Zhang is a fantastic boxer. He's old, he's past his best. He's had some hard fights. He's been boxing a long time. And I think Ajit Kabayel is going to do him. I think this is the coming of Kabayel. I think this fight will announce him on the world stage properly. And I think we're going to see Kabayel in some big fights in the next 3, 4, 5 years. I think he's a very, very competent boxer. I think he's got good fundamentals. I think he works body and head well. As the smaller man, I think he boxes really smart. He uses outer range to in range with head movement to set up shots. And I think Zhilei Zhang has been made to look good by the last couple of victories he's had. And I still think he's too upright. He's not defensively skilled enough. And I think he relies on his southpaw tactics to keep him in a good position all the time, which, hey, this time around, I don't think it's going to work. So for me, I'm going to keep this one brief. I think Kabayel is going to win on points. I think it's going to be quite a clear points victory. I think it might even be a whitewash. I think he's going to beat him, 9 rounds to 3 or something crazy like that, all the way, or anywhere up to 12-0. I think it's going to be a massive victory. Kabayel's going to announce himself, and it's going to be an Ajit Kabayel evening. That's a simple one, nothing too complicated. I think Kabayel's head movement, counter punching, and his jabbing and footwork is going to be what gets the victory. And I think we're going to see a slow, cumbersome, heavy Zhang, and that's going to be the end for Zhilei Zhang's career. A couple of losses after that, and then it's game over. So there we have it. Okay, so the final fight on the card that I am going to predict is, of course, Joshua Buatsi and Callum Smith. Now, I'm going to really throw a spanner in the works. I think I've been an absolute a-hole in some of my picks here, and I'm going against the grain with as much of them as I can. I'm trying to look at it from a boxing perspective. I'm trying to look at it from a historical perspective, but I think Callum Smith's going to beat Joshua Buatsi. I think Willie Hutchinson showed how easy Buatsi is to draw into a fight. I think Callum Smith's going to jab long, keep him on the end of that long jab, and pick him with the 6, my right uppercut, the 3, and there's going to be a lot of those shots. Pick him as Buatsi steps inside, boom, boom, and then get out again and keep him on the end of that jab. Every time Buatsi comes inside, it's that uppercut hook. Every time Buatsi comes inside, it's the body shots. The contrary point to that will be that perhaps Buatsi is intelligent enough to place his head off that centre line all the time, keep that uppercut sliding up, and set himself up to throw the body shots to both sides. If so, it may be a different result to the one I've predicted, but I think Callum Smith is going to win, and I think Callum Smith may even stop Joshua Buatsi. I think Joshua Buatsi's career has been weirdly stalled. I'm not sure why. I don't know if maybe they doubt him in some way. I don't know if maybe he's been injured in sparring, hurt in sparring, knocked out in sparring, and so they've tried to bring him on gently. They've avoided fights with guys that perhaps they should not have, like Anthony Yard. I think if he was really serious about driving in towards the top, the Anthony Yard fight would have been a much bigger fight than Callum Smith. But I think Smith's going to put a spanner in the works, and Smith is either going to stop him or is going to win on points. And then that will give Callum Smith another chance at the big bucks. And it's exciting. I like Joshua Buatsi. He's a great guy. He's humble, and he's a good representative of boxing. But I don't know. I feel like there's something missing. I like his coaching team. I like his style. But it just seems to me that there's something not quite right about the trajectory of his career, considering everything that he achieved. It seems like they've dulled it down in some way, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what's happened there really. So it's going to be interesting to see this fight. And that's it. That's my pick, and those are my picks for this Riyadh season card, for a fantastic show, the last Crescendo. And I'm really excited for the show. Please let me know your predictions for all of the fights below, how you think it's going to play out, where you think I'm wrong, where you think I'm right, and any questions you might have. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Big love. Appreciate you all. Take care.